Today is about the power of you. You will change the world.
You're listening to the Chronicles of Livin podcast.
Do the damn thing.
Where we talk to visionary dreamers like you about living their best life.
Fulfill the highest, truest expression of yourself.
It's time to step into the past, present, and future with an open and healthy mind. Go! Now let's talk.
Greetings, my visionary dreamers. See, your girl still got it. I still got some breath in me, you know. My birthday next month, but I'm still youngin' by heart and by health. Thank God. This is Aydionne, your dream pusher, your lifeguard, saving you from yourself, from the world, from some real bullshit. And you are tuned into Chronicles of Livin podcast show, the show for everyday people doing everyday things, living everyday life. You know, us extraordinary folk doing a thing the best way we can. And to you newcomers out there, I'm just a life purpose coach, energy healer, book author, podcaster. Yeah, and I your big sis today, or your mama, or your auntie, or your grandmommy, whichever voice you need to hear from, or whichever voice you're used to hearing from, your bestie. You know what I mean? Just to have good conversation. That's what the show is based on. It's just based on having some conversation about a topic that we are either used to dealing with, have dealt with, might deal with, or saw somebody else deal with, so that we can have a better perception, because that is the show today. It is, what is your perception? What is your perception? Or perception, however, you know, sometimes I mispronounce words, but y'all know what I mean. So I'm just going to get right into the show today, and let's talk about it. Now, this title came about because, as always, I'm always meditating and asking about what do we need to hear about? What is it that Spirit wants to talk to us about? To the newcomers out there, to my veterans, I forgot. Thank you for always blazing for me, always coming back to listen. I so appreciate you guys. I really do, all of you. So, perception. I think that some of us will toss that word around, and I like to read the definition for different words every now and then, just to give us more clarity on the word, because sometimes we're so used to hearing a word or saying a word that we can kind of miss the real meaning of the word. So, and I looked up the word, and Spirit put that word on my mind. It was just like, okay, what else? Perception? That's just it? That's the title? No, what is your perception? So because I didn't even know it was that deep, there are 4 different types of perception that you can have. First, let me read y'all what perception, the definition says. So perception is the ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through the senses. So we know the senses are, you know, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, right? So you form a perception about things or people or, you know, what you eat through your senses, right? There are 4 different types of perceptions that is noted. And so I'm going to tell y'all what they say. Let me see, where was that at? It is auditory, olfactory perception, and haptic perception, and gustatory perception. So gustatory is taste, haptic is touch, Oh yeah, and touch is a sense too. How I forget that? Okay, I'm falling off. And then the olfactory is perception. That is through your nose. So I guess smell, right? And then, of course, we know the auditory is hearing. So, for example, you might be talking to someone, right? And then someone can say something, and two people standing there can have a different perception as into what they meant about what they said. All right, this what came to mind. Don't laugh, y'all. So, we have slang words back where I came from. So one of our slang words, and this is back in the day, I'm telling my age, is that's fat. That's fat. Or she's fat, right? So the slang word fat means that's a good thing. Dang, that's all of that. Or that girl, she's fat. She's all of that. She's the bomb. Like, she looks good or whatever like that. That's the slang version of it, right? But the real definition of fat is like fat. Like, you big. You're bigger than the usual. Okay. So two people standing there and, like, say if it's a person that knows slang and that's looking at the same female, right? And somebody that talks slang versus somebody that's just, like, say, a corporate person or whatever. They might work at the same job. Okay. And this can happen. And I'm sure it has happened. And so they work at the same job. Say this woman comes through the door and the one that talks slang is like, oh man, she is fat. She is fat. And say the woman is thick but curvy, right? And then say the person that's standing there with them is like, oh my gosh, you shouldn't say that about her. She's not fat. She's just curvy. You get what I'm saying? Oh, you shouldn't talk about people, and they get all offensive and think that the other person is just like talking down on the woman when really they're uplifting and they're, making the woman just really admiring the woman. You get what I'm saying? That is what perception, how it can be translated in so many different ways. And I guess that's why when the word came to me and I was like, what are we talking about today, Spirit? And it was just like, the word just came, perception. I was like, perception. You know what? Let me look that up, because I know that I talk about your perception or something and everything, but for all of us to just make sure that we all have clarity as into where Spirit is going with this today, I just wanted to look it up for myself and see. I learned something new today. I didn't even know that it was 4 different types of perception. From your nose, touch, hearing, and what was the other one? And of course, seeing, all of that. So I just described your perception from seeing. That was one of the senses, right? They saw the same woman, and the one guy, because okay, let's give them names. Let's say Ed and Bill. Okay. So Ed said that the woman is fat. She's fat. Right. And then, Bill was like, no, you shouldn't talk about her like that. Right. But in that perception, situation, Ed was expressing through, what he saw, and then Bill picked it up from what he heard, his perception of what he heard him say and the way he said it, right? This is deep. Like, Spirit is too much for me. I love it though. I love it. I mean, this is really deep. But yeah, so this is what happens through our day-to-day life and communicating with people. And so if I give you another example, what you eat, right? That's your perception through taste. So someone may, and I've had this a few times when my son was growing up, his friends would come over and say I cooked some eggs, right? And one of his cousins, I remember saying, I don't like eggs. And I'm like, how do you know that you don't like my eggs. Because you taste eggs before my eggs, maybe you just didn't like the way that person cooked the eggs, right? So that was his perception of how eggs taste. They taste nasty to him because he didn't like the way the person cooked the eggs that he tasted before, right? That's one type of your perception. But then when your sister girl over here made the eggs for the kitties, he loved the eggs. So his perception changed because he had a different experience with the taste of eggs due to how I cooked the eggs and how I prepared the eggs for him versus how it was prepared for him before. You know what I'm saying? This is why when you go to the restaurant, it's like, how do you like your eggs? Do you like them soft? Do you like them scrambled hard, scrambled soft, over easy? All of this stuff, all of these different types of ways that you can taste one egg. This is deep, y'all. I'm tripping off of this whole topic. Because I never know what's going to come out. I never really looked at all of this stuff this way. But check that out. You got one egg, right? In the shell. You could scramble this egg. You could sunny side up the egg. And even when you sunny side up the egg, they say, do you want it sunny side light? Do you want it hard? All of this stuff, right? Same thing with scrambled. Do you want it scrambled with cheese? You just want it scrambled light, scrambled hard? All of this, right? And each way that egg is cooked is going to draw out someone's perception of how eggs taste. That's deep. It's some crazy stuff right there. I'm really tripping off of spirit right now, guys, because I never really looked at eggs like that. And I had some this morning. So I guess what is being said right now, and maybe the reason why this topic is a title today is that this is what just came to me. Our perception about our life, about life around us, about, I know why this topic came about now. Wow. So our perception about us, right? About how people see us. You see how many times that word perception get kicked around. And this is what creates everyone's individual experience with life, with ourselves, you know. So I guess this is what I was saying, what came to me. Maybe this topic came about because I was talking to one of my sister friends earlier, and we was just talking about, we both come from north, right? We both moved here from north, and we both had kind of similar stories in some ways. We, kind of raised our kids and brought them up here for a better life. And we were talking about how, she talked to someone from back home, and she was saying, like, the person was telling her that everybody's still doing the same thing, the same way and everything. And I was sharing the same thing. Like, when I go back home, it's just so familiar. Everything is, I feel like it's kind of like in time, and she was saying how it's kind of like the Matrix, like, and this is no pun intended against anybody from my hometown, my family, nothing like that. But the only reason why we both can discuss this is because we was talking about how we felt like, and so let me use us for example, so nobody won't take offense that's back home or whatever. We were talking about how much we realize our perception about our life have changed. And I don't even think we used the word perception, but we were talking about how, I was saying how I could look at pictures of myself from some years ago when I was up north, and I actually look older than I do right now. And I guess this came about because we were talking about our birthdays. My birthday is coming up next month, March 18th. Don't forget it, y'all. And her birthday just passed earlier this month. And we're both she just turned 54 and I'm about to be 53. And so we were talking about how we literally can look at old pictures and we were aging due to where we were at that time, and because of where we were at that time in our life, individually, rather it was, we were dealing with obstacles in our way, challenges because we were raising kids on our own, of course, some help from family, friends here and there, but technically on our own, so the stress from that, from being in survival mode for so long was kind of, I guess, eating away at us unconsciously. We didn't even realize it. We didn't realize that us being in survival mode because we were doing what we had to do to make sure that our kids had the best life that we could offer them, it was wearing us down, unconsciously. And it showed and it came to light because of the fact that once we moved to the South, we started having a different perception about life because we started experiencing different things in life and different types of people and different mentalities of people. And more importantly, we both discussed how our whole mentalities just switched. And we didn't even recognize it. We didn't even realize it until later on. And as we were talking, we like, it's deep. Like the person that I was when I lived up north is not the person. It is still the same person I am as I moved down south. But I'm just, I believe I'm a better version of me. Let's say it that way. And she said the same thing. We both agreed that we are better versions of ourselves due to our surroundings, due to, our surroundings creating new perceptions for us. Because when we lived at a place that we grew up in, our perception about life was where we were, right? I mean, that is your perception. Wherever you grew up, whoever you grew up around, whatever household you grew up in, is going to be your perception of how life is supposed to go, how life is. You get what I'm saying? And that maybe this is it. Maybe that's it. That's just how life is. Because that's your perception at that time, in that space, and in that reality, right? And by us moving to a whole nother state and experiencing, starting things from a clean slate, because we both did. She didn't know anyone, and neither did I. I knew like one person, but that person was supposed to have a job for me. But anyway, so basically, I kind of started from scratch. I didn't know anyone, and we didn't know each other. And it's so ironic that we would meet and both be, I had just moved from Harrisburg and she was from Harrisburg. You know what I'm saying? That's some craziness right there. So it was good to know that I wasn't the only one that felt this way. We both was laughing like, wow, yeah, I really do look older. I really was aging when I was living in up north. And then also we discovered that, if I don't know what part you're listening from in this world, but Georgia versus where we grew up at, it's just more nature where we are now, where we both live now. We have more trees, more grass and all like that. So I think therefore is more oxygen, and also our houses are pretty much separated from other houses where we grew up. We kind of lived in row homes. And so we didn't have as much privacy and space as we do now. So I think that actually made a big difference. You get what I'm saying? I think that made a big difference in how we were able to think. I say think because the closer you are around people, I think you pick up on their perception about life. So you have these conversations with people from day to day. And let's say, for example, I have a sister friend that's my baby girl, and she's just like, when it comes to the whole Black lives and what's going on, her perception as into what's going on in the streets and the news is different from mine, because that is her focus. That's what she sees. That's what she focuses on the most. She focuses on the news and, you know, the destructive things that's going on in the news. That's, you know, when it comes to, you know, police brutality and things of that nature, are things that is not going so well when it comes to our culture, Black folk, right? Where even though, you know, we get along, I love her, we share a lot in common, my perception is like totally different. You know, not saying that that's not going on, but I choose to believe and focus on the good things. You know what I'm saying? I focus on like the fact that me moving to the South is like, I really believe it is just like our culture, Black people dominate when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to business, when it comes to even the political world in Georgia, where so many years ago, it was totally different. It was totally different. You know, out here in Georgia, it was more. In the South, it was known for like slavery and things like that. And up north was known for freedom. You know, you make it up north, you free, right? And it's crazy how I'm just talking about me. I'm giving y'all an example of how deep your perception is and how your perception can really paint your life. I felt like, even though, don't get me wrong, I love where I come from. I love, you know, my upbringing. I had a great childhood to me, and I've done and achieved a lot of great things when I lived up north, right? But I feel like my latter years up north, I think that it was like Spirit was telling me, your time is up. It's enough. You've experienced enough here. I want you to go out and experience more. I want you to expand. I want you, you know, to grow. And you can't expand and grow here. It's done. Because what you are supposed to do in this time, space, and reality is calling for expansion. It's calling for, you know, you to see more, for you to have a different perspective about the world, a different perspective about life. I need you to see more so that you can know more, so that you can do more, so that you can discover more of you, so that you can discover more types of people, more types of things that you're good at. This is deep, y'all. And I didn't realize all of this until now, this podcast show. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I really didn't. I did realize through our conversation that me making the move here and making it permanent this time, I always came back and forth from north to south as I was raising my son. And I could remember my mom saying to me one day, and this was her perception, right? She said to me when I was up north, "You're so mean." Say, "You're so mean. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells when I talk to you." It's always, you know, I can remember us having conversations like this, and I would just be like, "I'm not mean," and blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? But now in hindsight, looking now, she just came to visit me in November, stayed for like 2 weeks, and had a great time. And she always say, "You know, I like you better. when you live down south. I think you need to stay down south because you're better. You're nicer. You're not all tense. You're not all, you know what I'm saying? And that was her perception, right? And even though she acknowledged she was having her perception about her daughter through sight, right? Through sight, through auditorio and through sight, because she was collecting her perception of me when I was up north from how I talked to her, from what I talked about, for how I expressed myself in conversation, right? And she's also having her perception about who I have grown to be while I'm here down south through the same way, through the way she sees me, through the way, you know, I've been acting, through the way I talk, the conversations, the way our conversation go. You get what I'm saying? So that's her perception of me. And it's never wrong. Your perception is your perception at that time, right? And just because someone else has a different perception doesn't mean that you have the wrong perception, especially if a person has never experienced why you have the perception that you have about a thing, about a type of food, about a song, a movie, anything. It's just like that with a movie. You can have two people watch the same movie. You can have the ratings, and just like even YouTube videos, things of that nature. People perceive things differently. People have a different perception of the way something is delivered, like a movie. You could have somebody say, "Oh, girl, you gotta go see this movie. It's the bomb. I love that movie. It was so good. It brought me to tears and all of it. I was trying to wipe away my tears in the movie theater." But then somebody else can go see that movie, offer their recommendation, and they be like, "That was a whack movie. I don't know why you think that movie was so good, and how is it that you almost cried? It was whack to me. It was corny. It was filmed badly. That's their perception, right? And some people will literally get in a debate. Like, I don't know. No, it was a good movie. No, it was horrible. Some people will actually get in a debate about a movie. You get what I'm saying? This is, I guess what Spirit is saying to us is that maybe we all need to check our perception. In a nutshell. We need to start really checking our perception about us individually, about how we showing up for us first and for everybody else. You know, what is your perception about yourself? How do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about, you know, your life at this point in your life? I know that for me, every time a new birthday comes around, one, I'm grateful that I'm still here. Not only that I'm still here, but that I'm healthy, that I'm, you know, and I can definitely say that my move to the South is a big contribution to my health. I can definitely say that because I can see where when I was up north, I was starting to have little health issues, you know, and I see when I came here, as the longer I stayed, the more I felt more youthful. You get what I'm saying? I think up north I was wearing myself. I was feeling a little bit more bogged down versus me living in the South. And so, but my perception when I was feeling bogged down was just, okay, I'm getting older and this is just my life. And, you know, when you get older, you start to, it's a little wear and tear on you. So, but then moving here, my perception is like, I'm like, hey, what's up? Instead of me turning 53, I feel 35. You get what I'm saying? I'm just ready for the world. I'm just like, what else you got for me, Spirit? I'm just ready to live my life. Now, don't get me wrong. When I first moved back here, it was a little challenge, but it didn't feel as much as a challenge because as it did when I was having my different challenges when I lived up north. I don't know, guys. It's just as I'm talking, as Spirit is talking through me, I'm really reflecting at the same time, and this is deep. So yeah, we just had a new moon in Pisces, my sign, and that moon is a representation of meaning, and also I'm working on getting into this astrology, but I don't go too deep until I know some things. But some from my research, it was saying that Saturn is entering Pisces. The planet Saturn is entering Pisces too, and with that combination, it's like you're going to feel the energy of, it's time for me to get my shit together. It's time to grow up. It's time for me to do things differently if the things that I'm doing is not working out for me. Or if the things that I'm doing are working out for me, it's time for me to push further. It's time for me to push for higher heights. You get what I'm saying? And I noticed that energy because I did, like, me and my son, we had a conversation, and it was just like, I felt like, you know what? I'm getting kind of laxed. I feel like I could do more. You know what I'm saying? And some people might think like, wait, you doing enough? Like, no, I feel like I could do more, but not in a way of a survival way. Not in that way. I feel good where I am. I feel good, my environment and all of that stuff. I feel good. So it's more so of me discovering more of me and more of what I have to offer the world. You get what I'm saying? And, just expanding my journey as the energy of this new moon and Saturn going into Pisces is representing. I do feel the urge to expand. And that's not me saying like, yes, I do a lot of different things, but not in that way. Just to expand on what I already do. Let's say it that way. Just to make some adjustments and things of that nature. So I challenge you to do the same. Take this energy and this time, and if you feeling like something is in you and it's a little disruptive, you feel off, that is the energy of this new moon going into Pisces. That's the energy of the planet Saturn going into Pisces for a few years. It's something about Pluto too, the planet Pluto too. I got to study more on that. I think the planet Pluto is representing like it's time to grow up. It's time to, you know what I'm saying, make some changes or whatever like that. Yeah, I think the planet Pluto is talking about that. But anyway, I know that's getting a little deep. This is a part of me saying that I feel the energy to expand on different things, different knowledge. I mean, how can we grow? We always talking about the same things in the same way, right? So me learning a little bit more about the universe, about, how things are and why things are, and learning more on perception, right? That's me expanding, and that's me working my brain. They say like, as you get older, it is very important for you to do things that's going to challenge your brain activity. Some people's perception of getting older, see, I'm using that word in a sentence, but some people's perception of getting older is to just chill, all the way, just retire and do nothing and just sit in a rocking chair, watch TV, do nothing much. But then you have some people's perception, as mine is okay, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. That's my perception. And us getting older. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. Meaning, like, think about your bone density. If you're not working out, like walking at least on a daily basis or moving around, after a while, you know, your bones become fragile, right? Because as you get older, you can become fragile. But then that's some people's perception, where you have other people's perception. Like, I watched a video of this 91-year-old woman, Asian woman, OMG, working out. When I say this woman is in better shape than me, I feel bad. Seriously, she is going around out where she's from, training people, okay, younger than her, working out. When I say this woman is flexible, I'm talking flexible. I'm talking do split flexible. And she doesn't look, she 91. No, I give her like 70. I give her 70 something. That's in the face. That's how youthful she is. So, and the way she eats and the things that she does, the way she exercises, just walking, and she has a regimen every morning, right? So other people's perception is that once you retire, once you reach that age of retirement, that you're too old to do things. You're too old to, you know, have a full life and, you know, enjoy life. Yeah, you might want to enjoy life by just, you know, like I said, some people get older and they just sit around and just do nothing. And that's their enjoyment. That's their perception of the way life is supposed to go by the time they hit the age of, say, 62, retirement age. And that's all they're supposed to do. Where you got other people's perception, is like, man, when I retire, woo, I'm going to live it up. I'm going to be traveling. And see, that's my perception. That's my perception. To just experience new things when I get to the retirement age. But when I get to the retirement age, knowing me, I'm not going to really retire because of what I do. You know, by me helping people to heal and things of that nature. And I love, you know, my metaphysical shop, and I just love helping people, right? And I love this show. I love doing the podcast show. I definitely love my TV show, which I'm getting ready to start airing again. I just think that when we start to really look at our lives, right, and maybe examine some of the things that we feel like, wherever you are in life, whatever age you are, we feel like maybe we should do this by now. We should have had this by now. We should have experienced this by now, or whatever. You know, you might have had goals in the past, and you haven't achieved certain goals, and so you look at your life and you just look at what has your perception been from today and in the past. What has your perception been about life? What has your perception been about yourself? What has your perception been about opportunities? What has your perception been about travel, about, you know, how your health should go, about your finances, about whatever it is that you feel is not where you want it to be at this point in time. Check in with yourself and ask yourself, what has my perception been thus far about this? Or what is it that I have allowed other people's perception to be about me to stop me from creating a new perception for life or for me? I like that. I like that, Spirit. I like that. Yeah. So yeah, because sometimes it could be the thing that can hold us back is us being concerned about other people's perception about us. And a lot of times we can think someone has a certain perception about us that is so not true. That is so not true. But because of sometimes you can have insecurities about yourself, that those insecurities can draw out false perceptions about yourself and about what you believe other people think about you. That's how deep your insecurities can knock you off balance. You could be thinking one way that, oh, wow, these people, oh, perfect example. And then I'm going to get off because I see the time winding down. Like, so I got my hair done in these dreads, right? And I was thinking, because I had them in, I think, a month now, that, okay, it's old. It's time for me to take them out and things like that, right? That was my perception. I'm thinking time-based, like, okay, it's time for me to take them out. They're old. But I went, the day that I said that, I had went to the dentist. This week. I went to the dentist, right? And as soon as I came in the dentist, because they haven't seen me, for a couple months, right? So they was like, oh, I love your hair. Like, all three of them was like, I love your hair. I was like, for real? I was like, I thought it was old. Like, I've had this in. They was like, no, we're just seeing it. It's new to us. You see that? They said it's new to us. It's old to me. That's my perception about my hair. It's old to me because I've had it like this for a month. But it's new to them. So to them, it still looks good. To me, while, okay, it looks good, I feel like, okay, this is old. It's time for something new. You get what I'm saying? But yet, everybody hasn't seen me with my hair like this. Y'all see how deep that whole perception thing is? So in my mind, I was concerned unconsciously about other people's perception about my hair, the fact that I've had it in this long, right? They don't know when I got my hair done. But yet in my head, my perception is my hair is old and it's time to take it out. And I don't need nobody coming at me talking about something. Oh, wow. Ain't it old? Don't you think it's time for you to get your hair done over? Ain't nobody studying it but me. And this is what happened with us. We get into our head and we start talking to ourselves. We talk ourselves out of things that, because of our perception, because we worried about other people's perception of us, we could talk ourselves out of some of the most beautiful blessings, some of the best opportunities, some of the most amazing experiences that the Most High Spirit is opening up for us to have. All because we are dead strong on a perception of ourselves, of what we think other people think or see, that is so false. We could talk ourselves out of experiencing beautiful things, beautiful people, beautiful experiences, beautiful opportunities that can totally change our lives beyond our imagination. That's deep, Spirit. That's deep. Because I'm going to leave y'all with this. I can honestly, now that Spirit brought that through me, I could definitely connect with that. Because before I moved to Georgia for the first time, when I moved here the first time, before I was starting this journey, my family, and God bless their hearts, because I know everybody means well. Your loved one's going to always mean well. They think they know what's best for you. That's their perception, right? But when I told my family that I was moving to Georgia with my son by myself, they were all up like, what? Georgia? You don't know nobody in Georgia. You got a young son. How you going to make it out there? How you going to do this? How you going to do that? Like, you shouldn't go to Georgia. No, you need to stay here. And you don't know nobody out. You don't have no family out there. And blah, 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 blah. Right? But I came to visit Georgia for a week. And that, when I came to visit Georgia, that changed my perspective. I didn't care what nobody else's perspective was about what I should do with my life and what I should do with my son's life. And again, I know they all meant well because they're my family. They love me and they want what's best for me. I would hope majority of them do. All of them do. You know what I'm saying? But they had never experienced at that time living in another state. So therefore their perception was that it was safer for me to stay around my family and near my family to raise my son. That was their perception because that's all they knew. And rightfully so, I can't feel bad about that, or you know what I'm saying? Because once I experienced that week here and I saw how Georgia was laid out and I felt the difference, the energy, the just what I saw, the perception of what I saw, the perception of how people talked to me and how people were so welcoming to my auditorial perception and the food that I taste and what I smelled and all of my senses was on fleek, okay? For my perception to make me make that move and disregard what everybody else's perception was about me making such a huge leap of faith. And although I had moved back and forth because I had a young son and things would happen in between, I kept coming back. Because in my heart, after the first experience, I could say it was like a drug, and I just was addicted. You know what I'm saying? That's how it felt. I wanted that feeling back. I wanted to feel how I felt in Georgia again. It felt so freeing to me as opposed to how I felt up north. And like I said, that's just me and my experience. I felt kind of like I was stunting my own growth by staying up north once I experienced Georgia. That's what it was. I felt like every time I went back, it was like I was going backwards. You know what I'm saying? And every time I came to down south, I felt like I was moving forward because it was a clean slate for me. It was new people for me to meet. It was new things for me to learn. It was so many entrepreneurs out here, and it was so many people of color just doing it, just making moves and just supporting each other. Not saying that you can't get that up north, but I can say from my experience now, I've had a lot of people that I wanted to do that with, and I wanted to, support, and we do things together, and they pretty much did a lot of shicey stuff. I'm sorry. Had some shicey experiences, you know what I mean? I had some people that used me up and all of that stuff, and just for what I was able to do and all of that stuff. So those were my experiences, and that was my perception, right? So that's why when I came to Georgia and I started meeting people, and even now, like me being an entrepreneur, and basically all of my friends here are entrepreneurs. They all, if they're not entrepreneurs, they're dipping their toe in it, and they're working their way from a job into entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying? They all are honing into their purpose, and they're all discovering their talents and wanting to pursue them. And therefore, their perception about life, and they're all getting older, and their perception is like, look, I'm not getting no younger. I got to do this now. I got to go for it. I got to, put my all into it or whatever like that. I don't want to leave this time, space, and reality just working a job, just, doing the same thing or living life the same way. I'm ready to do something else. And the crazy thing is, all of my folk, my close friends, they're from somewhere else. Not all of them. I'm gonna say 80%. Yeah, 80%. I'm gonna say 80%. The other 20 is originally born and raised here in Georgia. But 80% of my friends have moved from different states because they wanted something different, and they wanted something new, and they wanted to grow, and they was looking for new opportunities. And I think that's why we all have something in common, because we left where we grew up to experience something new, to have a different perspective about life and about what life has to offer us, right? This was deep. I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all don't see. Y'all think that I know what I'm about to be say. I'm about to say. This show is making me. I'm going to have to listen to the show right away. Sometimes I'll wait for a couple of days, but I really want to see what Spirit was speaking to us from this show, so that I can see what is it that I can start adjusting in this time frame before my birthday. You get what I'm saying? And I'm just excited. I'm excited about life, almost probably like never before. Of course, there are some things that I was excited about before this, but I'm just saying, like, for me to be about to hit 53, some people dread getting older. I'm excited. I'm excited about what life has to offer me, because I'm so open and receptive to receive what the universe has for me, and to just move forward on this journey and embrace every step of the way. That's where I'm at. And I pray that you guys are, if you're not there, that you, from this show, that you're inspired and you're encouraged and you're motivated to get there, to want to branch out, to, if you haven't experienced different things, to start doing that. If you're caught up in the matrix and your life is looking like Groundhog Day, if you don't know that movie Groundhog Day, every time, what's his name? I forget his name. Not Brute. Anyway, every day that he would wake up, his life was the same. That's the Groundhog Day movie. And in that movie, I believe, I gotta go watch it again, but in that movie, I believe that the universe was trying to teach him that it's time for change, and until he got that, his day was the same every day. And so ask yourself, what is it that you can start to change within your life so that your days can not look like Groundhog Day and not feel like you're in the matrix and you're just stuck? What is it that you can do? Start planning it out, writing it out, talking it out, whatever you got to do to get there. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm here to tell you guys, I definitely look younger than I did. I would say even probably 5 years ago, because I've been back here in Georgia for 4 years, almost 4 years. Wow. Or 3 years, I can't even remember. Anyway, since 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah. So about 3 years. It's solid 3 years because it's off. And I can say 5 years ago, I believe that I was starting to age. Before I changed my perspective about life, and I had something to change my perspective because I was looking in a different environment. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that. This has been, wow. Yeah. I hope that y'all really, really got a lot out of this show. And that is my goal, is to always encourage, inspire y'all, motivate y'all to leave the show better than when you came. You get what I'm saying? So with all that being said, definitely please share the show, like, subscribe, follow, all of that good stuff, whatever platform you're listening on. And thank you for supporting me. Thank you for purchasing the books, Visionary Dreamer 90-Day Journal and Transform Your Life, Discover Your Purpose, the Workbook. Both available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. You just want to type in April, Aydionne Williams in either platform, ADionne. If you didn't look at the description, you should know how to spell my name by now. And yeah, so until next week, definitely check your perspective. What is your perspective? Check it and do the necessary adjustments that can help you to become the best version of yourself and live the best life that you can live. Okay? With all that being said, I love you guys. This is Aydionne, your dream pusher, your lifeguard, saving you from yourself, from the world, from some real bullshit. And you are tuned in to Chronicles of Livin podcast show, the show for everyday people doing everyday things, living everyday life. You know, us extraordinary folk, we just doing the damn thing the best way we can. And that's all you can ask of yourself. Okay? So, until next week, I love you guys so much. Mwah! Peace.
The Chronicles of Livin.
We can be whatever we dream.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Chronicles of Livin podcast, where you find only the highest vibrations. Remember, you are extraordinary. And if you're pursuing your dreams, we're proud of you. Because the best part of life is when you decide to live.
Something better is always possible if you're willing to work for it and fight for it.
Stay updated with Aydionne by visiting chroniclesoflivin.com or stay connected through social media by following @Chronicles of Livin. Until next time, your dream pusher, Aydionne.